Are you concerned about what to eat and stay healthy? How would you like brownies for breakfast? Well, in this interview, we interview Lynn Bowman, and she actually wrote a book, Breakfast with Brownies. By the end of this video, you're going to gain clarity about how to have a personal retirement plan and be healthy, as well as have action items to secure your retirement.
To learn more about securing your retirement and all the different elements you need to know, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to be notified when we post a video every Monday. We have helped hundreds of our clients gain clarity and get on the path to a comfortable and happy retirement. Now it's your turn. Let's dive in.
Welcome, everyone, to our Secure Your Retirement podcast. And today we are bringing on a guest. You know that in our podcast, our goal is to talk about three things. One of three things typically is financial, legacy, and then lifestyle. Today, I will tell you, is a lifestyle podcast. And I say that because it's about how to make sure that you have as healthy a lifestyle as possible. And we have a very special guest on. Her name is Lynn Bowman, all the way from California. So first of all, let me just say, welcome to our podcast, and thank you for coming on, Lynn.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation, and excuse my hat. This is the Nevada Wolfpack, University of Nevada, in case you didn't recognize it. But I'm wearing it for my grandson today.
Very good. Welcome. I'm very glad to have you on the show today. Merce and I, we love it whenever somebody comes on and shares things with us that we can help us think about not only just the financial side, but also the health side. And I like what your little caption here is. It's Glam Grandma who knows how to get you to eat your veggies. And when we were talking prior to us starting this interview, you actually said a lot of people don't understand the connection between health and wealth and how they're connected. So can you kind of give us, first of all, maybe a little bit of background, what got you on this quest, and then maybe what's the mission of what it is that you're trying to accomplish?
Okay, well, you've already kind of leaked it. The mission is to get you to eat your veggies. So let's just put that right out in front. But I am a type 2 diabetic and have been since the 80s. And that started me on a quest to figure out how to stay on my feet and stay healthy. And I realized in the process of doing that a lot of the information that was put out about type 2 diabetes and other chronic diseases was not, in my mind, accurate and not too helpful. So it's been decades, obviously. I'm now 76, as I confessed to you earlier. But I'm happy about that. I love being 76. I survived, and I plan to survive happily for as long as I can, maybe another 25 years or so. And I love the idea of bringing that kind of security to people if I possibly can. And I think a lot of people don't understand this clear connection between your money and your health. That something like 85% of the bankruptcies in this country are because of ill health. And staying healthy is one of the best preventive financial strategies you can have, as well as, come on, let's just have more fun. Let's be more active. Let's enjoy every year of our life that we possibly can. And the best way to do that is to be healthy. So, and there are some very clear strategies now. A lot of research has come out in the last few years about exactly what it is that keeps you on your feet longer, better, stronger. And it isn't always what people think. There's a lot of kind of a jumble of misinformation, people selling supplements, and the healthcare industry saying one thing and the supplement industry saying another thing, and the diet industry pushing stuff out all the time. So I'm here to talk about what I personally have been able to discern as the truth in all of that from the point of view of a grandma, right? I that's my sort of letter behind my name, is I'm a grandma. And so I have a very different point of view as a woman who has stood behind a sink for many years in my life, as well as I've had a career in communications and advertising, and So I've been an office monkey too. But and I had 3 kids, single mom. So I think I have some street cred when it comes to what really works, and what can you incorporate in your life that makes sense, that's going to make you feel better for a long time. So that's what I'm about. And as you know, I have a book out on the subject recently, Brownies for Breakfast. And I titled it that way very consciously because I think so many people associate healthy eating or a healthy lifestyle with deprivation. Like, oh, you mean I have to give up sweets and give up fun and give up eating what I want and give up eating when I want. It's always about something that they're going to be denied. And we have this emotional, all of us, relationship with food and our bodies, and we don't want anybody telling us what, even a grandma, we don't want anybody telling us what to do, what to eat, when to eat, how to eat. But guess what? If you want to be healthy and you want to keep your money to do fun things with and not pay medical bills, you're going to have to listen up about what to eat, when to eat, and how to move, because that's the big one when it comes to keeping yourself healthy, for sure. Although, and you guys know this, community is huge in keeping you healthy and happy and alive longer. So it's impossible to talk about food. Food isn't just food. It's about communion. It's about sitting and eating with people. Who are you eating with? Are you eating alone? Are you eating out of a paper bag? Are you driving through for all your meals? All of that has a very big influence on how healthy you're going to be and for how long.
Mm. Yeah, Lynn, that is a very good overview there. Thanks for sharing that. How many grandkids do you have?
I have 2,
2.
right? So not a huge number, but they're perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
so your line about getting them to, or getting anyone to eat their veggies. I've got a 2-year-old at home and almost 2-year-old, and we're working on that right now and trying to find little ways here and there to sneak it into what he thinks is a treat is actually just full of veggies. So
I'm all about it. It's all about smoothies, Marcy.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Right.
But I mean, it makes sense, right? If you're healthier, especially in your later years, you could be avoiding some major medical costs, or maybe delaying the threat of long-term care and all these different things that are very, very expensive, especially where we live in the U.S. So living a healthy lifestyle not only can save some money, but it can also, provide some happiness in retirement as well and not be so bogged down. But how do we do that? And so that's why I want to dive in. It seems like you've done a ton of research, and I think, we all will Google here and there, hey, what's the best diet to be doing right now, and get caught up into whatever marketing works towards us, and we go pick that diet and run with it for a little bit. And so we want to hear about what you have found and think is one of the ways that works for you, and maybe some people that you work with. But what would you say is the most surprising advice that you would give? Let's keep all the listeners on the edge of their seats here, and let's get straight to the advice.
Okay, surprising advice. This is becoming less surprising. It's out there and it's supported. But if you haven't heard the news, one of the most important things you may do for your health is to not eat so often. Americans particularly eat all day and all night. And the first thing you might consider doing to radically change your health rather quickly is to stop eating all the time, to eat in a shorter window of hours. And I highly recommend midday, during the day, not too late, not when it's dark. And right away you're going, yeah, well, but people in this country, particularly, well, in Argentina and some other places, but everyone's eating pizza at 11 o'clock at night in front of the TV, right? And that is the worst possible scenario as far as your body is concerned. Some of the really interesting, exciting, newer research is about a thing called autophagy. which is my new favorite word. I love saying it, autophagy. And essentially it means your body cells' ability to cleanse themselves. And we didn't used to consider that at all. And so it's a picture that I want everyone to have of, you've got to give your body time to do the processes that it knows how to do beautifully to clean itself. And the body wants to do that when you're sleeping at night, late. And if you continue to shovel food in, it's like continuing to drive on the highway when the crew is there and they're trying to clean it up and the trucks and the shovels and everything, and you're still, you have to empty it. You have to leave it so that these cells can do this process of cleansing, and they are getting rid of dead bits and allowing your body to wash itself out. And without that, it's just like that closet you've got in your rumpus room. It just fills up with stuff. And that's not a scenario for health. It's just this refuse is piling up in your body just the way it would in your garage. So that I may not be totally surprising to people, but it certainly was to me when I first really put my snoot in it and understood the science of it. And I hope that's a picture that people can take away, that you need to let your body rest, and that the only time your body actually heals itself is when it's in deep sleep. And you cannot sleep deeply if you have a full stomach. You need to leave a period of time from your last meal to when you go to sleep. And that's going to let you sleep better, which is a complaint of a lot of us who are older than 45 or 50. Sleep can become an issue. And you can't have great health without great sleep. So, and especially now they're making the connections between cognitive health and sleep. Very, very important. So understand that food plays a role in sleep. And all these bodily systems are connected. You know, you can't really separate out movement, exercise, or mood, or food, or, you know, it's all part of the same system. You know, we give it different names, but it's all just you. Right? But the good news is you're in charge. You know, you can make a decision to change something that you're doing, and it will work. It can be very powerful. And you said, yes, I've done a lot of research, and I'm my biggest guinea pig, right? I'm the only truly cooperative subject that I have to experiment on. So not that I haven't tried with kids and husbands and things, you know, but I've experimented with being a total vegan, and that was very, very interesting. I did that for 6 months. And I got a great result in my hemoglobin A1C coming down. And I felt great. It was all wonderful. But since then, I've moderated, and I now eat some fish, salmon particularly. And it's all backed by science, but also delicious. I mean, you know, it's something I really love to eat, and a very healthy thing as far as I'm concerned to eat. There is a recipe or two in my book for that. But the thing that all the science supports is whole food, plant-based eating. And there's really no disagreement about that among people who study food, nutrition, longevity.
So I was going to ask you, because you said your book is about eating brownies for breakfast or whatever. What would you say the overall whelming premise? Because I mean, you know, we know people like do things like calorie counting. They maybe do intermittent fasting. Maybe they decide they're not going to eat carbohydrates, or they're going to eat low amounts of carbohydrates. Like you're saying, I'm assuming based on what you just said, you don't eat red meat, you don't eat pork, you stick with the other things. So what would you say the overwhelming premise then of your being an experiment? It says, hey, these are the components of what you could do and what you should avoid.
So it's whole food and plant-based. So most everything that you eat should be a plant food, and as little processed as possible. So some people consider putting something in a blender, processing it. To me, it's like, well, if it's spinach in the blender, it's still spinach.
Yeah.
It's still whole food. It still was just a spinach leaf, and I haven't done anything except chop it up. So more plants, whole food. And when it comes to meat, if you are going to eat meat, make sure it's happy, grass-fed, college-educated meat, not factory farmed. It's very important for your health, because the dairy products and the meat products that come from factory farming are not something that is going to add to your good health. So if you want meat, make sure you're sourcing it well, that it's from, that what that critter ate.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're eating. So I'm not going to tell everyone to just drop meat now, but I am going to tell everyone, here's my number one recommendation, is no sugar. If you take sugar out of your diet, that is going to eliminate so many things in bags, in boxes, you can't even imagine. Once you start really religiously reading the labels, and you're doing this, Merce, because you have a child, 2-year-old child. So you're becoming so much more conscious of it. Once you start really reading those labels, you're going, oh my gosh, this has sugar in it. That has sugar in it. Everything has sugar in it. Yes. And then the next bit there is, I hope you know by now that sugar is in fact addictive. It's more addictive than heroin. There's lots of science behind that. And so when people say, well, how about if I just kind of cut down on the sugar? My response is, well, how about if you just cut down on the heroin? That works? No, it doesn't work. You need to get off of it, because your body is responding to this substance that it is addicted to. And so give yourself 2 or 3 weeks and then kind of see how you feel and see how it's going. I mean, really get off of it, really go on a sugar diet. And my book, by the way, the Brownies for Breakfast idea, is that you can make fabulous food with no sugar. You just don't realize it. And there are all these great sweeteners out there now, which of course, because I'm diabetic, I was on this maybe sooner than a lot of people were, because I really needed, it was essential that I be more careful than other people. But it turns out that the same prescription that is super healthy for a diabetic or someone with heart disease, that's the same prescription for everybody. We should all eat like a diabetic. So the book is, my brownie is made out of pumpkin and nut butter and monk fruit sweetener. And you can use egg substitute or regular eggs. Eggs, it turns out, if you're truly vegan and you really want to be strictly vegan, you won't eat eggs. But eggs are a super whole food if you're sourcing them well from a happy chicken, whose name is known by a farmer who loves her. Go ahead and eat eggs. They're wonderful. But you can make a brownie, and I tell you, I could show up at any church supper with my brownie and stack it on the table there and not tell people it was sugar-free. And there would be a number of people who would come up to me and go, oh, Miss Bowman, your brownie is the best thing I've had in a long time. It's gooey and delicious. I can't believe how yummy it is. It's too rich maybe, but it's really good. It's just knowing how to make food without crappy ingredients. Pretty simple.
Gotcha. So let's say we get the diet aspect of being healthy all figured out, which is a big part of it. They say,
Huge.
I used to say when I was younger, I used to say, I work out so hard so I can eat whatever I want. And which is really kind of a false statement. It worked because I was young and I had a strong metabolism at the time. But as
And you were a
age,
guy.
and a guy. And as you age, your metabolism starts to slow, and you have to be very careful about what you eat. But still, the formula does apply. Exercising does apply.
Yep.
But it's not. The diet is a huge part of staying healthy. But let's say we get the food part figured out, and remember,
You have
our
to
list.
feel good enough to exercise.
Right. And so remember, our listeners are 55 to 75. You told us that you're 76. yesterday. And so for someone of that age category, what would you say is the best exercises to complement a very nice diet?
Well, first of all, walk. Everybody should walk all the time, everywhere they can, as often as they can. Best exercise anyone can do at any age. We are meant to walk and run. And so do that. It doesn't cost you anything. It can save you money. And it makes you feel good. And then beyond that, what I do, and I highly recommend it, because it's social as well, which is a huge part of our health and mental health and physical health as we get older. I work out 3 times a week with a group of gals, roughly my age, some younger. We do TRX, we do Pilates. It's a workout that would stack up, with it's definitely a workout, but it's also stretching, it's core muscles and so on. So if that works for you, if you have a place that you can go and do that, it's great for me because I see my friends 3 times a week, and we laugh and make fun of each other and dish. And that is a huge part of health as well. It's very hard to be super healthy and be completely alone. So I would recommend highly that you find a way. We have a walking group in town. I live in a very small country town, but we have a group of people who walk on the beach and walk on some of our trails, and we communicate via email. And okay, we're going to show up at this trail, 8 o'clock, show up at that trail, 8 o'clock, different days. That's walking and hiking. Working out in a gym, I don't know. That's not my thing, because I like it to be a very positive and supportive kind of situation. So it just depends on what the gym is. Dancing, take Hawaiian dancing, take any kind of a lesson that gets you out there with some music and some younger people maybe, and just move your buns, that's basically all you need to do. Even if it's just walking down the street, walking a dog. A lot of my friends, of course, have critters that have to walk. So that gets them out and walking their fuzzy friends. But yeah, Marcia, and I wanted to go back to your baby one more time, because I talk with families a lot about how to get kids to eat their veggies, which is a thing that I think you need to start really young. And in with my kids, it was not that hard. It was kind of fun. They learned very young that they needed to shop with me, cook with me. They needed to clear the table. And a kid will eat what a kid grows or a kid cooks. So get your child starting in the dirt as soon as possible with some kind of a little, even if it's something on a sink that's herbs, parsley, something that's growing, and get that kid up to the stove and stirring stuff and cooking stuff as soon as possible, because then they'll eat it. Absolutely, it becomes a different thing when they've made it, and they've participated. And my kids also, and if they were here, they would growl about it probably, but they always had to read the label on everything at our table. Nothing got by without having that label read aloud, and dramatically at times, because until you understand what is in processed food, it's hard to be motivated to work a little hard and make something yourself. You have to quit just eating out of a bag. You cannot be healthy just eating stuff out of a to-go bag or a bag of Oreos or Doritos or any of those things. They are actually engineered to addict you. And I don't know if you guys have talked about that before, what big food really is up to, but they're not your friend. Those foods were not created to make you healthy. They were created so that you couldn't stop eating them. They literally are engineered to make you unhealthy when you think about it. So, and forgive me for being a bit of a scaremonger here, but I think it's important to really get that message that when you're eating out of that bag, you are eating someone else's profits that are made on your ill health.
Yeah,
So,
well, it's all very, I mean, when you talk about it, it's like, okay, well, that makes sense. That's extremely interesting, extremely kind of gets you to think and go, that makes sense. So let me ask you this, Lynn, people listening, if they wanted to get your book either, and learn more about you, what's the best way for them to go do that and get that information so they can continue to learn about what you're teaching?
thank you. And I hope you will. I love hearing from people. I love getting questions and inquiries. And my website is lynnbowman.com. Very simple, LYNNEBOWMAN.com. There's a form on the little thing, contact, that you can send me a message, and I try to respond to all my messages. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of that. And in some cases, my author name is Lynn Parmiter Bowman, Parmiter. So you can search that and find all my podcasts on Listen Notes and Spotify and those places. But just search my name and you'll, there are a couple of other Lynn Bowmans, but there are no other Lynn Parmiter Bowmans.
Okay.
And the website again is lynnbowman.com. And the new book is Brownies for Breakfast, a cookbook for diabetics and the people who love them.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Lynn. It's been a pleasure having you on. I know what you've shared is going to be interesting for our listeners. So thank you so much.
I hope so. Thank you.
We hope this video has given you some confidence and clarity as you plan for a worry-free life in retirement. But what else do you need? We have created a complimentary video course called 3 Keys to Secure Your Retirement. This video walks you through step by step what you need to do to get ready for retirement. You can also check out our podcast called Secure Your Retirement. You can subscribe below.
For more retirement tips, watch this video. Create your retirement income plan. Also, click here to subscribe to our podcast, Secure Your Retirement. If you like this video, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends.